So we have to talk about the new big game trailer that aired during the Super Bowl last night of Marvel's The Thunderbolts. We're going to talk about it. We're just going to jump right into it. We're going to jump right into it. We're going to talk about the trailer. We're going to go through it together, and we're going to get a sense of like what our hype level for this movie should be. Because I'm telling you, the more I see of this movie, and I think that this trailer kind of just proves that to me, is that this could be the best Marvel product this year. You know, with Fantastic Four coming out, with Brave New World coming out, you know, even the television shows coming out, like Thunderbolts is really shaping up to be like they really believe in this movie. I mean, it's got that May 2nd time slot. It's got that great release date to kick off the summer movie season. And the more I see of this, man, the more I am just getting hyped for it. And you kind of see early on in the trailer, we're seeing Valentina here. And that's what's interesting to me is they kick off the trailer with Valentina because I feel like that's going to be the driving force. You know, if you know, to put it in perspective, like if you saw the Suicide Squad movies, you know that this is kind of like that Amanda Waller type character. It's a character that I think we're gonna find out her plan is not what it seems kind of thing. We're gonna try to figure out like why she's wanting to put this team together, why she wants Bucky to lead it, and you know what they're really going to be called because it is Thunderbolts asterisk. You know, there's a lot of really great theories out there and ones that I definitely think are true and going to happen. But we'll kind of wait and see when the movie comes out. But I do think this was an interesting way to open up the trailer. We've seen this with some different superhero movies lately. It's like they're really going for that angle of, you know, how do these heroes and how do these people live within the real world? And how does that affect the real world, whether it be through legislation, whether it be through, Congress and, just real life things. And we've seen that explored, a lot. And obviously Captain America Civil War, we've seen that explored, even with DC with like Batman versus Superman, even in the Avengers movies, Iron Man 2, how, with Tony Stark and Iron Man and all that stuff. So they're definitely continuing that trend here. And to open it up in the courtroom scene is really interesting to me. And again, you kind of get this. And again, with the color grading of this movie, what I've noticed is they're definitely going for that grayish tone here with these scenes here. So that tells me that, and you're going to see this here in a little bit, and we'll kind of talk about it. And again, if you want to, there's not going to be any spoilers because I haven't seen the movie, but just based on what they're showing me in the trailer, I'm going to speculate what I think's going on and what a lot of people have been saying that I agree with what, who the major villain is. And you can kind of see it here is, obviously there's a character that they kind of always talk about in the movie that, that they don't know who it really is and all this stuff. So it's pretty much been speculated. And if you pretty much know at this point, it's definitely going to be Sentry. And it looks like the villain of this movie is potentially more than likely going to be the Void. Now, I'm not saying there's not going to be some other stuff going on in the movie, but that seems just based on this trailer, who the main villain of the movie is going to be. I don't know if that's like the main thing they're going to they're being brought together to face, or if this is just something that happens throughout the movie. So I'm hoping we get some more surprises going through the movie. But I thought these shots were really effective of like, just, it kind of reminds me of like War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise. If you've seen that movie, excuse me, just this shot right here where like, they're running through the streets and I mean, just look at the powers right here. That's what's really scary is they're just getting completely, I mean, you could just see that, man. I mean, that's really a cool effect and one that kind of like, if you don't even know anything about any of the characters and you're just somebody who doesn't follow all these characters from Thunderbolts, like you don't know who, John Walker is, you don't know who Red Guardian is, you don't know who Elena is, like you're just kind of a casual like fan of these movies, and you're trying to get back into it. This is something I think is really effective 10 seconds into the trailer. That's like, damn, dude, what's going on? That's pretty cool. Like that looks kind of sick. Like, I don't know I want to learn more about that. So I thought that was really effective for the first 10 seconds here. And again, you kind of have this, and then you got Bucky here looking reluctant, looking angry. Something's happened. Something is happening. What's going on here? Again, I'm sure there's going to be a definite tie towards the ending of Captain America and Winter Soldier, or the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, excuse me. But again, I hope they really don't expect people to watch that to understand what's going on here. So hopefully, because I think that's what's been bogging Marvel down a little bit, is like they expect everybody to kind of watch these different things. I hope there's some treats in there for people that watch it all, and there's some good like Easter eggs and stuff. But for the most part, for the narrative of the movie, I hope that like we just stick with like what's going on in the movie, like people that are seeing it for the first time who didn't watch Falcon and Winter Soldier. What's Bucky doing? What's Winter Soldier doing? What's his goals in the movie? Why is he reluctant? Why is he angry? Why is he having to do this? Because he looks like he is definitely going to be the recruiter, the guy who's putting together this team or who's going to lead this team. And, so I thought that was really cool and interesting. And then we get the Marvel Studios. So again, all in 15 seconds, you're getting the villain, the threat they're facing. You're getting the Julie Louis Dreyfus character Val, who you kind of know is going to spearhead the thing, and then you get a lot of Bucky. So you're already kind of seeing that this is going to be a Bucky driven movie. Like Bucky's going to drive the team. Now him and Yelena will be the headliners of the movie. Like Yelena is going to play a huge role in this as well. So that's going to be very interesting to me, as their dynamic together. I can't wait to see that. But let's kind of keep it rolling here a little bit. We'll kind of skip around, and you kind of see him looking up to the sky. So again, they're showing a lot of the scene here with the grayish color grading, which in other scenes when we see, especially, and we'll talk about this here in a minute. But with other scenes we're seeing different color grading. So for me, with this color grading, this is showing me that this is going to be the stuff with the void going on in it. And the way he's looking is like, it's almost like a surprise. So that's what I'm saying. I'm wondering if like this is the initial thing they're fighting, and then this is the initial, they're fighting some initial thing, and then this kind of surprises them that they have to deal with now. So we'll see. But we got to keep this rolling. And you can kind of see the darkness. And again, we've seen this shot a bunch of times in movies now, where you kind of see the darkness kind of overshadowing the city. And then you kind of see them caught together here. Again, we got Taskmaster here. We got Ghost here. We got, I'm not talking about in this shot, I'm just talking about in general. You know, we got John Walker, we got Red Guardian, we got Yelena. So again, man, just really this cast, man, I am excited to see all these characters coexisting together. And of course, Bucky. And you know, the thing is like, you're not getting, you know, you're not getting a lot of Taskmaster early. So there's a lot of speculation that Taskmaster is somebody that's not going to be in the film very long. And we'll see if that comes to fruition. We'll see if that actually happens. But based on the marketing, you are seeing in a lot of these different scenes, you're not seeing a lot of Taskmaster. So unless they have some type of surprise for it, that sadly could be a character that they just maybe use early on in the film as like a motivation for the characters, you know, something that happens to that character to give the characters extra motivation that kind of brings the team together. We'll see. But I mean, I just think that Alexi, man, I just think that look with David Harbour, I think he's going to absolutely steal the show, just like he did in Black Widow. And I just love that dynamic, and I'm just excited to see. I think they're doing a great job with the marketing of like showing like, man, what do we do when we put all these people together? It's not like the Avengers and stuff and other team up movies where like you have these really powerful beings like being put together and like, can they fight the world's biggest evil? It's like, these are just almost outcasts, almost throwaway characters in a sense of like, that's how they feel about themselves. They feel like they don't belong. They feel like they don't deserve to do something good, you know? And I think that's why I think Yelena is going to be just such, I think that, you know, Florence Pugh's just going to do such a great job with that role of like playing that. Let's see the shift in Yelena. We've seen the wisecracking jokes of Yelena. We've seen a little bit of that darkness and a little bit of that, you know, self-hate, self-loathing about what happened with her sister and some of the other products, you know, like Hawkeye and stuff like that. And even in Black Widow, we've seen some of that brought up. But I think this is a really great way for her to deal with like the different grief, the different emotions, and really have a showcase for Florence Pugh to kind of like really kind of be, even though it's a Bucky, like Bucky's kind of leading the team, you know, Sebastian Stan's like kind of leading this group. I feel like Yelena is definitely, with the early marketing, like she is the headliner of the movie. So I definitely anticipate that as well. You know, not super. And again, we see a lot of this, and again, we see this back and forth here. So we got Yelena here. We see a lot of this with Bucky, Yelena, Red Guardian. Again, looks like they're doing just your typical, like, you know, kind of rounding up some bad guys type of thing, or like doing some different stuff. Again, that's what I'm going to be interested in, is like what they're going to be doing throughout the movie. And then we can kind of see some of these scenes. I'm just skipping around a little bit. There's a scene right here with John Walker, like getting shot at by Yelena. I think they're going to have a really good back and forth of like clashing of ideas and egos, because we've seen that advertised in the trailer a lot now, is them two really go back and forth a lot. And so that's going to be very interesting to me, is to kind of see that. I mean, there's a small part of me that's thinking like John Walker's going to play a really big role in some major scenes in this, because of that dynamic that he shares with Yelena about them going back and forth a lot. So that's going to be really interesting. And I think that he has the potential to have almost the coolest arc of the film based on what we know about the character and what the character went through during the Falcon and Winter Soldier. And that's what I'm saying. Like, hopefully they do a good job of kind of bringing you up to speed without you having to watch that whole series. You know what I mean? But Yelena just looks great, man. Yelena's just a great, I just think Florence Pugh just does so much with this character that, you know, adds so much to the character that could have been maybe like a one note wisecracking character, and she's added a lot of depth. And I can't wait to see her performance in this, because I just think that she's going to absolutely crush it. And I just think that I'd love the new costume design, love the new hairstyle, just looks really badass. And then, and there's Taskmaster. So we see a little bit of Taskmaster here. And that's what I'm saying. So right here, you kind of seeing the different stuff with the color grading. You know what I'm saying? So like we see a lot of that gray color grading and stuff. Right here, it's kind of this normal color grading. I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of that regardless throughout the film. But you're kind of seeing Bucky. I mean, Bucky, just every time I see Bucky, like in this movie, there's that look of like, just trying to get reintegrated into the world, almost like really not understanding what's going on, like really just like haunted by something. So I'm definitely interested to see what goes on throughout the movie. Is it something that has happened already that he's dealing with, or is it something that happens in the movie that he's dealing with? That's kind of what I'm interested to see. And then this is going to be great. So I love this right here. I love the dynamic. I'll skip back. I love the dynamic here between these two characters. So again, we're already starting to see the team ups within the team ups. We've seen, like I said, we've seen some Yelena and some John Walker stuff. And I think that that's like a team up within a team up. We've seen Bucky and Red Guardian. That's like a team up within a team up. So again, the reason I'm saying that is because we're seeing a lot of scenes potentially where characters have to go off and they have to like split up, or they have to do stuff. And maybe the movie focuses more on, yes, them as a whole team, but the movie could also focus on like, these two characters, these dynamics. So just based on the hints I'm getting from the trailer, I definitely see that happening in the trailer as well. Not in the trailer as well, in the movie as well, where we're getting, an extended sequence with these two guys. And I just, it finally looks like Bucky's letting loose with Red Guardian. So that's really cool too, because you're seeing like Red Guardian getting Bucky to get his guard down. And throughout the whole trailer, Red Guardian's just talking about how cool Bucky is, like how much he admires him and all this different stuff. So there's like this fanboy-esque thing that David Harbour plays up, which I think is just so good. But we'll keep this rolling a little bit. So again, we're seeing a lot from that sequence, and we kind of flash back and forth between this sequence again with this sequence here, which seems like just it's going to be a huge, like just a huge set piece within the movie, like a huge action set piece. Pretty sure that's the whole scene where we get like the void and stuff. So again, I'm anticipating that being the third act of the film. And then the rest of this stuff is, the earlier acts in the film, acts 1 and 2. And they're kind of looking for some different compounds, some different stuff. And here's when you kind of get introduced to what they're up against. So you got him grabbing his arm. This is obviously what people are anticipating. It's Sentry. And you can kind of see this. This is, again, I say potentially because we don't 100% know, but pretty confident that this is going to be Sentry. And we're also going to see Void as well, because obviously those two go hand in hand. And you can kind of just see this. They kind of just look like they've been through it, man. So again, that's what I'm saying. Something happens. There's like a shift where like all of a sudden it was like an ally. Now it's become a thing that they have to deal with villain-wise. Something they thought they were going into, like your routine mission has now become this big mission. So even though we already kind of know that we can pretty much expect that from the movie, the thing that the marketing is doing really good at is they're making the movie seem like it's less about what they're up against and more about the characters and seeing the characters blend together. And I think that's what the marketing did for Guardians of the Galaxy really well, is they just showed you like, hey, we're going to get to all the stuff, the superhero stuff, but like we also want to show you, like, we're introducing you to some really great characters. How are these characters going to interact with one another? How are they going to coexist? And I think that they're doing a good job with Thunderbolts with this as well. And I'll also put on the subtitles here. And this is when the trailer gets great. And this is why I keep saying that this, to me, is why I think that this movie will be the best Marvel movie. I mean, I'm leaning towards, I think this will be the best Marvel movie they released this year, simply because I just feel like there's so much good storytelling to be had with like people that have, feel like they failed or they're really not heroes, and how, it's an underdog thing, man. It's like, how are they going to get their chance to be a hero? And when their chance to be a hero is there, are they going to seize it, and are they going to step up to the challenge? And that's what I'm saying with the John Walker thing. I think John Walker is going to have a great arc in this movie. I really do. I think he's pretty much playing like fourth billing, really, behind Yelena, Bucky, and even Red Guardian because of David Harbour and stuff. But I think that John Walker's a character that I cannot wait to see his arc in this movie. I think he's really going to do a great job. Wyatt Russell, just a great actor, and one that I'm just really excited to see how they explore this character in this movie. But and this is the speech Red Guardian gives, That's why we need each other. I don't see your mistakes and stuff. So you're kind of seeing, we've seen this in movies before, man, but it's an effective storytelling tool. It's like we have these reluctant heroes that start off maybe disliking each other or don't see eye to eye, and then by the end of it, they learn to work together. They learn to respect one another, and that's what's made all the great, the Avengers movies, in my opinion, great. That's what's made Guardians of the Galaxy great. So that's what I'm excited to see with these characters. And you're kind of seeing it here again with again, Bucky just with some different looks, and we can really dive in. I don't want to dive in too much with like the different shots of the trailer, because there's a lot stuff out there that you could do that does a lot better than me. I'm just talking about more of the overall vibes of the trailer and what I think about the trailer in general, like as a fan of the movie, And I just think there's gonna be a lot of great comedic bits here, and that's what I really am excited to see with Florence Pugh's character, is her exploring more of Yelena's whole range, like to actually give her the time to have a movie that's kind of like a Yelena movie, even though this is a team up movie. We've seen it with the first trailer. This seems like it's going to be a Yelena, from an emotional standpoint, a Yelena driven movie, to where she's kind of the vessel of like the audience, of like kind of exploring all this stuff as well. And so I'm excited to see that, and just to see how Florence Pugh pretty much is just going to crush it. I can already tell just based with the trailers, just like the whole cast is going to do. And that you can't call ourselves that. So he says, the Thunderbolts. I'm sure that in the actual movie he says we're the Avengers. Like, that's what I'm guessing, is that Alexi is saying that we're the Avengers, even though it says Thunderbolts. I think that, he actually says the Avengers, and then that's when Bucky's like, we can't call ourselves that. So that could be like where there's like that reveal of like what, and there's speculation this could be the Dark Avengers, this could be whatever. So there's speculation that there could be that stuff. And again, you're kind of seeing some, just looking at the cast that's around, you're seeing some omissions, and that's all I'll say. And that's why there's speculation that certain characters aren't going to make it very long in the movie. So again, I'm anticipating this being that final act switch. Like, this is like that switch that happens at the end of the third act that introduces the third act of like something big happens, and then it turns into save the world type moment. Like, our heroes are at their lowest point right here potentially, and how are they going to flip it around and save the day? So again, man, I just think this trailer is super effective. So much some action. This May, I love the yellow and the black here with the text, because I just think it's just, this May, it's really feeling like an event film, where this could have felt like kind of a throwaway, like, oh, it's the Thunderbolts. Are people going to really be excited for the characters? They're making this feel like an event film, which I think is awesome. And then you have what used to be Avengers, what used to be Stark Tower, kind of seeing what's left of it. And, this has the makings of a team. So you're constantly seeing this team up here. Got some great team shots here. And yeah, man, I just, and again, this is what I was talking about with this whole scene. Like, the color grading here is a lot different. This is kind of like what we're used to seeing with Marvel. And then the other stuff's that grayish stuff. So that to me seems like the sky is overtaking, that's the void effect or whatever. And then, like I said, Bucky, just with the introduction of Bucky here. And I love what they did here with the, and by the way, I couldn't put it on there because the video would get, just probably taken down because I'm playing the music from the movie. But great soundtrack choice with all these trailers so far. And I just love how they go through the whole roster. Yelena, Bucky, John Walker, Red Guardian, Ghost, Taskmaster. And then you kind of see more of this, you kind of just see more of this here with the Void, Sentry, Void. You can kind of see the different powers that they're going to have to deal with, man. So it's going to be really interesting to see. And this is what I love. This team could be the heroes on the Wheaties box. And there's actually a poster out now where it's them on the Wheaties box, which I think is just a brilliant poster. One I'm definitely going to add to my collection, especially if I love the movie. And I just think this is great, man. Again, I'm kind of repeating myself because I've kind of said what I need to say about it, but I really think that the dynamics between the characters, the different action sequences, having the different, I think it's a smart thing to switch focus on who we're focused on in the movie. But based on what I can see from the movie, man, this is definitely a Yelena movie. This is definitely a Winter Soldier, Bucky type movie as well. And I'm just hyped for this, man. I think that this trailer did an incredible job of making it seem like a true event film for the summer, and a movie that I feel like is going to surprise a lot of people. I could see this movie being really just get great word of mouth, and basically just, really surprise people, not only from a box office perspective, but from like a movie that like people just kind of thought that this was like another transitional movie to get to the Fantastic Four, which is going to introduce this new age of Marvel. But I really think this movie's one that when we see it, we're going to be like, damn, dude, that's one of the better movies Marvel's made in a while. And I really am getting that vibe from this movie. I think this movie looks amazing. The marketing is fantastic. The marketing gives you just enough to get excited, but also they show a lot in the trailer, but you're not getting every character moment, and you kind of are excited to see these actors, these characters, kind of living in this world with the Thunderbolts asterisk, and that's kind of a fun thing too. So I don't know, man. I'm super hyped for it. I think this trailer was great. I really, really like this trailer a lot. I think they really effectively did a great job. I thought the first trailer was fantastic as well. This one to me just upped it by 2 or 3 points, just because of you're getting more of that emotional aspect of it. You're getting more of the real story right there. You're getting more feeling like this is going to be that big event film. And again, man, May 2nd, that is a prime release date. That is like the kickoff to the summer movie season. So really hyped for this, man. Cannot wait. Let me know in the comments below what you think about the trailer. Let me know if you are excited to see Thunderbolts. I really love to hear your thoughts below. Check out my other trailer review videos where I go over and talk about movie trailers like this. I'll put those in the description below. And consider subscribing and give this video a thumbs up on your way out. It'd really help out the video, and I'd really appreciate it. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.